Budget set to take another hit, at least a short-term one this time because of the flooding being seen across the country. Joining me live is Australian Financial Review political editor Phil Coorey, who on Monday joins us to break down what's happening here in the capital. Look, I don't think that'll be a huge part of the budget bottom line, but it's just another element, I suppose, and assistance, and it all sort of adds up. But what about the hints around revenue raising? Are we going to see this in October, or a bit of a slower burn on that one?
No, it's a slower burn, Tom. I think the Treasurer is back to where he was a few weeks ago in terms of what this budget's going to be. And it's a reconciliation document, and all that means is we've got a new government. They've only been in for 5 months. This budget is basically just to tick off on all the election promises, to show how they're going to be paid for, to wipe out a bit of the old low-hanging fruit the coalition left them with some of these grant programs, and to just give us an update on the budget bottom line and all the forecasts on growth and stuff like that, taking into account what's going on overseas. And I don't think there's going to be anything in there particularly audacious or new beyond that. Even the paid parental leave decision is sort of not till 2026, so beginning 24. So there'll be a bit of that in the out years. So as the Treasurer's been saying, before things got a bit confused with the stage 3 tax cut speculation, the real work starts next year.
Just on that, I mean, it seems as though that's settled. How real do you think the fight or debate was about that? And does it mean that it still sits there if there's a real crisis or recession, and that's the break glass money saver, if you like?
Look, it was real. The debate was real, and it was authorised, and they sort of tested the waters. That didn't mean everyone in the government thought that was a good idea. There was quite a lot of dissent, if you like, including from some of the cabinet members, that because of the integrity issue, because they campaigned so hard on integrity and to sort of raise the prospect of a broken promise so early on. But having said that, the line now is our position hasn't changed, and as we know, that doesn't mean that's not ruling it out. But
the bar's a bit higher than it was before in terms of when they.
I think so, and I think you'd find the Prime Minister. It will take a lot of convincing to get him across the line on this now because of the integrity issue. But I think they've done the right thing, Tom. I mean, it's never a good thing to break a promise, but look, if circumstances change, let those circumstances change and make the argument for you.
Well, exactly.
Rather than try and confect something.
On the day that you're announcing we're changing our mind on that, it's not because we think it's the wrong idea. It's otherwise we'll go into recession. Otherwise we'll lose our AAA credit rating.
And there's another 3 budgets after this one before those tax cuts come in. So look, if you want to break the promise and you need to buttress your argument, let the circumstances do that for you. And I think that was the position they had before they threw it out there, and that's now the position they've retreated back to.
Well, sometimes you just need to really establish where you are, and they're back where they started, as you said. The saving on the so-called rorts and misuse of money and so on. Labor's always spoken about this, and it's an easy thing. I mean, the coalition spoke about it before they came into power way back when, because nobody disagrees, cut the rorts. I guess it's going to be a bit more than we thought, because it might include a fair bit of the so-called net zero deal money being spent. So it's going to be billions. It doesn't fix a structural deficit, but is it a bit more than maybe we thought?
Yeah, well, I guess so, but it's still, it's still the low-hanging fruit, if you like. I mean, you'll find this when they did the deal with the Nationals, Tom, and I was speaking to one of the Liberals last week who was in the cabinet, and they said, Barnaby just gouged out this king's ransom was the term this person used, right? And he said, and there was quite a bit of resistance from the Liberals to this, because a lot of it wasn't good spending. Some of it was just and I think Albanese alluded to this today about some money for private projects, private people, competitors over other people. We don't know the details because they never announced it. They were never transparent about whatever that deal was. We got these dribbling announcements about.
Well, they never said, here's the net zero deal.
No, never. We had to
buried amongst such a big list. You don't know what to.
And there was this nebulous funding for dams in the Never Never and stuff, and it was all a bit like an episode of Utopia, And so if the coalition would probably be able to defend it a lot more now if we knew what it was in the first place. They did, but I think you'll find there'll be a few people inside the opposition who won't be too sorry to see some of these things go. And you've got to remember too that Morrison had to get this net zero up. The Nationals drove a very hard bargain, and they made such a noise about having to support it, including the revelation that the leader didn't even support it in the party room. They didn't get a single vote out of it. So all they did was just chuck $10 billion at something, and it didn't win them a vote, the quid pro quo. So it's
There could be some bigger fights. I'm already getting texts from Keith Pitt over Paradise Dam. I hope he doesn't have me revealing that, but he's been pretty vocal, so there might be some
Well,
we can talk about more than
I
others.
think what you'll find is if there's fair dinkum stuff, if there's good stuff,
Yeah.
that's actually real and had a start date on the stuff.
And they're going through it all,
They
right?
won't
Not-
take.
it's not gonna all go-
No,
Labor will pick
it
through
doesn't.
things.
It sounds more.
Yeah.
We'll know on the day. We're sort of guessing to a fair extent.
Okay.
But
So
Yeah,
just
yeah.
finally, the other pledge today from Labor is to end violence against women. No one will disagree with that aim. I don't think many people will disagree that it's been a stubborn problem to make progress on, even if that's maybe the reporting is up while awareness is up. But, I mean, violence, unfortunately, is part of the human condition.
As long as we'll stamp out crime. Like I said, it's a noble aim and a noble sentiment, but I'd like to see more emphasis on the home. You know, like this starts in the home. Malcolm Turnbull used to say that about, you know, it begins with disrespect for women. I think governments have they can help with education, they can help with, you know, law and order, penalties, this sort of thing, but at the end of the day, you just got to teach, you know, boys from a very young age, you know.
If you're someone
don't touch a woman, never, you know.
If you're someone, though, in this field, you say, well, yes, Phil, I agree with you, but leaving it up to individual families isn't working as well.
No,
So
but you can't do it without that. I mean, a government can't regulate behaviour, and I mean, you know, in some of the communities where it's more rife than others, I mean, the government has no impact at all. I mean, look, I think it's a great idea. It's a good initiative. I wish them well, but it's got to be more than just government. You know, it's got to start inside the house at a young age. This stuff. I mean, there's only so much governments can do.
And I think as well, colleagues, you know, young men calling out other young men is what you
Exactly.
need
Yeah.
above.
It's got to become socially unacceptable, you know, and absolutely. But you'll never get rid of it, and I think you've got to be honest about that right from the outset. You'll never eradicate it.
Never eradicate, but you can certainly bring it down, so no one disagree with that before people misconstrue what we're saying. Phil Curry, thank you.
Cheers, mate.
If this story has raised any concerns for you, you can contact the Domestic Violence Helpline on 1800 RESPECT, 1800respect.org.au as well.